Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Doc Anime Robin. In this video, I'll be unboxing and reviewing the SH Monsterarts of MechaGodzilla from the Monsterverse movie Godzilla vs. Kong, released in the year 2021. And this set is manufactured by Bandai Tamashii Nation. And before opening the set, let's have a quick look of the details on this case. So, on the front view, we have the right picture of the MechaGodzilla figure itself. And then another picture from different angle on this side. Nothing here. And on the back here, we have several pictures showing how this MechaGodzilla figure, like most of the SH Monsterarts and SH Figure Art, is capable of doing what they call super modeling, because it has a wide range of articulation, allowing the figure to pull down many kind of poses. So you can use this figure to recreate MechaGodzilla fighting, put on the display as if it's like the real the MechaGodzilla character brought to life. And you can also use it along with the Monsterarts of Kong and Godzilla from the same series to put on the display that recreates the three of them fighting from the Godzilla vs. Kong movie. But unlike most of the SH Monsterarts, this case does not have a transparency to allow you to see through the figure inside. If that's a feature you want for your collection, this might be a disappointment then. And now that looks like that's all the detail we can get from the case. Now let's open this set. Okay. Looks like they have the instruction manual stuck here. And we have the MechaGodzilla Monsterarts inside this transparency case. And by the look of things, there's not a lot of accessory in this set except for this pair of alternate hands. And before we open this, let's take a quick look through the instruction manual here, and which on the front page doesn't really say much except for showing again the whole total pair of all the hands this figure has. One that's open and one that's closed. Looks like the default ones are the ones that are open, and the alternate hands are the closed that can kind of function like a fist. And there's apparently one thing like a MechaGodzilla's cannon compartment that can be switched up on its shoulders. And another piece here, which unless you speak Japanese, it's kind of hard to know what it is. I guess we'll find out when we explore MechaGodzilla's shoulders. And how you can apparently alternate the hands, switch pieces to make different kinds of posture, maybe. And more cannons that can be opened up on the MechaGodzilla's abs. or belly. And more things you can switch inside its size. Because again, it'll be easier to see once we have the figure in hand. So now, let's get it out of the case here. And since there's not a lot of accessories in this set, you don't have to worry too much of like opening the case and if that kid send things flying outside, but still you want to be a bit careful, so in case something goes wrong. Oh, looks like there's a underside here. Which has absolutely nothing. So I guess it's probably only to stabilize the whole casing. There we go. So here we have the main figure with this little plastic set to help it keep in place from inside the casing. So as you can see, the figure managed to sit well without me doing any adjustments, so it's got nice balance, and the tail's not actually touching the table here, so it doesn't completely need the tail for balance. Now let me make some adjustment here so it'll look a little better standing up. So there's a lot of articulation on its feet that allows you to adjust its stance. And again, the shoulder is also very flexible and articulated. So is its arms. Though looks like fresh out of the box, it's a little tight. And of course its jars can open. And as you can see, I was able to adjust this figure utilizing its articulation to create the rolling pose you saw from the case. Now let's explore its articulation a little further. Let's start with the tails. So despite this blade and drill-like feature on the tip of the tail, looks like we can't really change it much, but the tail itself, like almost all tails of Monsterarts figure, it's very articulated, flexible. You can use it to basically pose anyhow you like as of an actual animal's tail. And no movement for the rest of the MechaGodzilla's dorsal fans or spine here. And I believe the instruction manual was trying to warn us that when you try to move the leg, you want to be careful with this section, because even though it's crafted to recreate MechaGodzilla's parts from the movie, but in order to enable the articulation, this little one hydraulics here, it's not actually connected to the figure at all. So when you move the sides and the legs, you want to make sure it doesn't kind of jam the rest of the leg movement. So this articulation here, it's like an actual machinery move. There's a lot of joints in the legs that allow you to change MechaGodzilla's stance in any way you want. Although there are some limits to the movements in the arms, but still it is articulate and flexible enough for you to pretty much pose any way MechaGodzilla would from the movie. Although these are all very tight joints, although it's also possible because this is the first time I'm working with this figure, so maybe the shoulder can loosen up over time. Well, this actually, in a way, it solves most of SH Monsterarts problem, where fans are usually criticizing how a figure from the Monsterarts line can be too loose or its parts too easily to move, and instead MechaGodzilla here has pretty tight joints so far, and that may be a good thing again, so you can hold a pose much easier than most of the SH Monsterarts. But the bad thing is usually all these parts being relatively loose also ensures you can't really break any of the figure, because if you accidentally remove a joint or you accidentally disconnect an arm or detach any parts of the figure, usually they can also very easily be reattached. With these tight joints, you want to be really careful. You don't want to accidentally permanently damage something. Again, it can open and close its jaws as well. The hand can move, so you can set up like a claw punch move any way you want. The shoulder pad armor is also flexible and it's a little tough here, but look, here's the cannon compartment you saw from the instruction manual. Again, it's hard to move. You might actually want to keep a little tool around to pry it open. And again, you just have to make MechaGodzilla look this way, so you can set up like a cannon firing pose like this. And the cannon's right there, so too bad we don't have like missile firing effect to to recreate the missile firing like this. Well, this is not a bad pose, although unfortunately the cannon can be camouflaged by MechaGodzilla's own color, because since everything kind of silver and gray here. You can do the same thing on the other shoulder as well. And here's the cannons on MechaGodzilla's belly here. So again, these are also a little hard to open up. So there we go. So it's easier if you start from below. And as cool as it might be, these weapons feature maybe borderline useless because they look so small. And again, we don't have any actual missile parts to simulate firing. Now let's try on the alternate pair of hands, and to put them on, it's very easy. You just have to literally remove the default hands and then put the alternate ones on. And these, well, not technically any more useful or better looking than the default ones. I guess you can just use them under what kind, as you decide what kind of pose might best go along with them. This might be more useful, like if you want to create some kind of the holding pose, like if you have MechaGodzilla holding something in hand, or in some ways it's also to some people maybe these hands stimulate the look of punching better than the default hands. Now let me quickly show everyone how you can exercise the interchangeability feature yourself on the instruction manual. So basically, you can remove like the fingers of each set of the hands. And then you can just replace and put them on like this. So I guess this way you'll look like how regular human hands, you have like the thumb up like this way. So that's, in a way, you can maybe create like a clawing pose or like a finger spreading kind of move better. And technically you can remove either the upper side or the lower side of the finger, but that'd be pointless since you can always rotate the hands like this. And this covers pretty much all the basic detail of this figure by itself. While this figure, like most Monsterarts, are very articulated, but it has a lot of limitation to its head movement. It can look left and right very easily, but can't really look up much by itself. You'd have to, like, again, pull it back, pull its torso back to simulate rolling up. And even though it cannot look completely up, but still, it's still very good articulation for this figure, and it can pretty much pose MechaGodzilla any way you wanted to. The best use of this figure would be to have it collected and put on display along with the Godzilla and Kong Monsterarts from the same movie series, so they can be again recreate the fighting scenes from the movie together. Although, as you can probably see from this view right here, maybe a little minor flaw with that plan would be like how the figure don't really scale too well, which is kind of a little strange from the Nation in the Monster Art series, who usually have their figures done pretty good scales. But in this case, it looks like MechaGodzilla is kind of a little bigger than either Godzilla or even Kong, who is almost like half the size of MechaGodzilla here, and whereas in the movie they are all pretty much roughly the same size. Despite this scaling issue, if you have the proper support items that can help with setting up displays, you can still utilize these figures to create really good display. The one that can at least borderline recreate and simulate all the battle scenes we see from the Godzilla vs Kong movie. Overall, this MechaGodzilla figure is a very relatively simple for SH Monsterarts figure because it does not have many accessories or interchangeable pieces or any effect parts to simulate its attack and its weapons parts, the missile launchers from either shoulder and its abs parts. They can be very well, actually barely visible when you turn them on. So it may not be the most desirable SH Monsterarts figure, but still, like all SH Monsterarts, it has a very good articulation, and again, like all SH Monsterarts, it's crafted very well to model its monster character from the movie. It looks pretty much exactly like MechaGodzilla would from the Godzilla vs Kong movie, down to almost all detail. So if you are a fan or who likes this version of MechaGodzilla, this would be a good item for you to collect, even if you're not interested to use it to recreate the fighting scenes from Godzilla vs Kong movie by itself, again because it's modeled so well after the MechaGodzilla character. By itself, it can still put on pretty cool display, and despite its lacking many effect parts, its coloring, like this purely gray silver, is also a pretty nice paint job. So again, by itself, it has a very good looking appearance. And so if you like what you see, I would highly recommend you consider getting this figure for your collection. Concludes my review for this set. Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe to my channel. And please check out other videos in my channel. If you have any question, please leave them in the comment section. I will answer with the best of my knowledge and ability.